Hi, I'm Burge Smith-Lyons, and I'm here today to talk to you about BubbleTalk, the unconscious thoughts that keep us from getting what we want. And I'd like to ask you a question. Have you ever felt confused? Have you ever felt lonely or frustrated in your life? Have you ever thought that you didn't have a choice in the world? Any of you out there? Well, what if I told you that you have the power to change your reality? And would you believe me? Would you do anything about it? Let me tell you a story about how I changed my life from being a divorced, bankrupt, homeless, single mom, and I turned it into creating wealth, happily married, beautiful child, and all the things that I've wanted in my life. And I became a motivational speaker and workshop facilitator to helping thousands of people around the world. So this stuff really works. So this is what I'd like to share with you today. And the first part that I'm going to share with you today is, as you see on the screen, helpless, homeless, and hopeless. This is a breakdown. In other words, I had a breakdown. I had already been through one marriage. I was bankrupt. I already had a child. I was teaching workshops and seminars on transformation and growth ahead of time. My life was under a microscope. I felt like an imposter. I felt like I was telling everybody else how to do it, but I wasn't walking my walk or talking my talk. So what I want to share with you today in this first part of the series is some of the concepts that I have taught and that most of you may or may not have learned about already, but I'm going to share them with you and what I had to remind myself of. In other words, law of attraction. Thought creates reality, that your thoughts create everything that you want and desire. Visioning. In other words, that you can create a vision. You can do it by writing your vision, or you can do it by having a visual vision, and I'm going to share with you how to do that. Responsibility versus blame, shame, and justify. What that is, taking responsibility for your thoughts, your beliefs, and your actions, not blaming other people or shaming yourself or justifying yourself as to why things are the way they are. And I'll go into a lot of depth about that one because that's really important. What you focus on expands is another one. If you keep focusing on the same things, you're going to keep getting the things you keep focusing on. Also about how to add value and knowing that you make a difference. That was a big one for me. I'm also going to share with you releasing your old beliefs and your old paradigms and replacing with new ones. Also how to speak your truth. And one of the best things you can say to somebody is, for me, the truth is. I'm also going to help you learn how to move through your fears and understand that fear is just false evidence appearing real. I'm also going to share with you synergy and orbiting in love and trusting and embracing the dance, living outside the box. The point of power is in the present. The present moment is the actual present moment is where you make a change. I'm also going to share with you my strength lies in my vulnerability, and I didn't understand that way back then. I didn't understand that you can be strong in your vulnerability. And for things to change, first, I must change, or my beliefs must change. Also, I'm going to talk about law of appreciation, about how energy is never wasted. As long as you're appreciating, that is exactly what you're going to be sending out, and that's what you'll get back. Also, the power of forgiveness. And the true essence of love, trust, self-esteem, commitment, integrity, and abundance. I will teach most of those throughout the series. And what happened was, I thought I should know better. I thought I should know all these things and create the money and relationships that I wanted, but I was having trouble with it. So I really had to look deep and figure out what it was that I wasn't doing properly. And I believed in a higher power, so I also prayed a lot. I also felt like I was not living my walk, walking my talk. I felt like there was something wrong with me, that I should know better, that money should be coming to me easier, that if I'm really on my path, then everything should be coming to me easy, right? Isn't that what you think? Well, what I had to remind myself is to take responsibility. As you can see on the slide, take responsibility for what your thoughts are, what your beliefs are, and what your actions are. And the minute you start blaming other people, you give your power away. And I had to remember that. If I blame somebody else for something in my life, it takes my power away. I've just given them my power, and now I'm a victim. We all understand what that is. The same thing about shaming. If you go into shaming yourself and say, gee, I should have known better, like I was doing, then it also puts you in a position of no power. And if you justify saying, well, let me make excuses for the reason why my life is the way it is, it puts you right back into victim mode. So that's exactly what I had to keep reminding myself, and that's what I did. While I was teaching all of these workshops, I had to remind myself of all of these. So look real closely at what I've done, because I am a walking testimony that this stuff works. So, as I said before, I ended up bankrupt. I ended up becoming a single mom. I was living basically in a car with one headlight and a broken door. And I was clumping along, and I had no place to live, and I was teaching the workshop. So that's kind of where I was. So what did I do? I had to envision a way out of that. So I envisioned a way out, and I had a breakthrough. In other words, remember I said the first part was break down? Well, now I'm going through the breakthrough process, and sometimes it looks messy. Sometimes it's not exactly what you want in your life. But I had to keep remembering that this is the way out. What I did is I created a healing forest. What is a healing forest, you might say? Well, it is a Native American term where you take a sick tree and you nurture it back to health. And you make it feel better about itself, and you give it affirmations, and it feels better. Then you put that sick tree that's now been healed, you put it back into a really sick forest, it becomes sick again. So the idea is to create a healing forest around you so that you can create whatever it is that you want and have people reminding you, which is what I did. I had people reminding me all the time of who I was and where I was going and why I was doing the things I was doing, and getting me out of that victim, poor me. Why is this always happening to me? So I was giving my power away when I was doing that. Have you ever done that before? Maybe you have, but let me tell you, the first thing I had to do through this whole process is identify my bubble talk, my self-talk, that little voice in our head that says, you're not worthy, don't do that. You're not good enough, better not try that. And it's an unconscious belief that it basically is there, but we may or may not know it. Some of us may know what we're thinking, but most of the time not. So I had to identify the fact that I was feeling unworthy so that I could blow that bubble away and create a new bubble, a new core bubble of where I was and who I was. So you may ask, well, how do you do that?